In the last few videos, we've introduced buyers and sellers and their responses to prices. We've sort of pitched prices as a way of possibly answering some of the big questions that were left over from part A. The big one being, how do we coordinate using prices? How do prices allow us to pick quantities? And who benefits from the exchanges when we pick prices? But most importantly, how do we pick which price to actually exchange with? That's the big question we're going to answer in today's video. Where do prices come from? So on the left, we have sellers, and we've talked about how a supply curve can be represented with an equation like this. These are just hypothetical numbers for this example. Supply curves can look very different than this. But this equation represents or it captures the law of supply. As quantity demanded, as price goes up, quantity supplied also goes up. This is a typo. This should say QS. So quantity supplied goes up as price goes up, satisfying the law of demand. And we can see that because of this positive sign here. And on the other side of the market, we have buyers. So sellers bring to market and then sellers buy the thing. And just like we talked about with the supply curve, we can represent the demand curve with a linear relationship. We know linear relationships don't capture everything about buyers' preferences. But for our purposes in this class, nothing about what we do will change if we use a linear relationship. So to keep the math simple, that's what we're going to do. So at a price of 9, we can go through and solve for QB, and that would give us a quantity demanded of 15. So we're plugging in the price the same into both of these markets. Into both of these two curves. So buyers would buy 15, and sellers would sell 35 at a price of 9. All right. And these things respond to changes. So if we lower the price to 5, on the seller side, we would see a decrease in the quantity supplied to 15. And on the buyer side, we would see an increase in the quantity demanded to 35. And one thing you can notice is that if buyers want more than what's being sold, then we end up with what we call a shortage. There's not enough spinach to go around. The picture I want you to hold in your head when we think of a shortage is the farmer's market. There are a few vendors selling spinach, and these vendors have long lines where the people in the back of the line will never be able to get their spinach. So there are people trying to buy spinach who will not get their spinach because there's not enough brought to market. We're going to call the quantity that's actually bought and sold in this market, we're going to call it quantity exchanged, QX. And QX in this case, quantity exchanged, is just the minimum of the number of things that are brought to market and the number of things that are demanded. So because there's only 15 units brought to market, even though 35 people want, the quantity exchanged is actually only 15. So we can visualize the shortage as this purple line. All right. So in the case of a shortage, if you're a clever buyer, you're thinking about how you might be able to get access to spinach. One thing you could do is you see this long line of people trying to buy Molly's spinach. What you could do is walk up to Molly, hand her a $10 bill, a value that's higher than the price, and Molly may accept this. Molly would at least have some incentives to accept the higher price. So a buyer, knowing they're not going to get the spinach at the end of the line, would want to jump ahead and raise the price. Because if they do, they may get access to the spinach that they wouldn't have had at the end of the line. So shortage leads to the incentives for buyers to raise the price. Sellers like higher prices, and so will not refuse. Okay, so what this does is it may change the size of the shortage. If we were to lower the price instead of raising it, the shortage would grow. So a price of 5 has a shortage this large. The shortage grows when we lower the price, which is exactly the opposite of what we might want. Okay. So if instead of having a low price with a shortage, which leads to the incentives to raise prices, if instead we had a high price where the quantity supplied was greater than the quantity demanded, we would get the opposite, what we call a surplus. So in this case, too much is brought to market. Molly, at the end of the day, has spinach left over on her table, selling spinach. So Molly, she's clever. She may think about what to do in this case. She doesn't want to throw the spinach away. Maybe she offers it at a discount. If you're a buyer and you know there's going to be discounted spinach at the end of the day, what you might do is wait till the end of the day to buy the cheaper spinach. And what Molly may do in the meantime, she knows she's going to have leftover spinach at the end of the day. Molly may just want to lower her prices before the end of the day. Buyers may know that there will be leftover spinach at the end of the day, and so may offer a lower price than this posted $8. Buyers would want to lower the price. That gives them a better deal. And Molly, because she doesn't want to throw her spinach away at the end of the day, because she wants to sell it all, will also have an incentive to lower the price. So if the price is too high, there are incentives to lower. And if the price is too low, there are incentives to raise the price on both sides of the market. This gives us the clue as to where prices come from, which we will conclude in the next video.